The Krone lives to fight another day. I've come on the 215. So this is like a Fenland environment. Putting plenty of net on them and want them to hold them together. So for a dry summer, one of the biggest swaths of material you've seen anywhere, rather than that really high pitch. Dee dee. So what I feel like saying is, hello Fenlanders. I do feel a bit like Daniel off Fenland Farming Adventures, being down here in the sedges. I know he's farming on fen and not just in sedges. You sort of drive into a field and think, am I going to sink and never resurface? To be fair, the ground is holding up really well. Well, fair dues to Baling's machinery, the Krone lives to fight another day. So they've gone round and replaced all of the blade holders and all the roll pins that go through for the protection on the discs. Tidied all that up. Fixed a little weep on the gearbox. A few other bits and bobs tidied up. Yeah, tip top, she's good to go, all being well. I've not started her up yet, so I've got every faith in her. I'm sure she's going to be fine. So just got to the site, came and met Charlie and Anthony a couple of days ago to look at this site. Quite interesting. I've come on the 215. I kind of thought about bringing the 130 being a lighter tractor, but the tyres are a bit narrower. So I thought we'll come in the big tractor and we'll see how we get on. The guys here on the estate have got plenty of big tackle. If we get stuck, they can pull us out, all being well. So this is like a Fenland environment. Got a stream just behind me. In the winter, water levels come up in here and then spill out over to this fen. Bit of an unusual, it's quite a special habitat for us up in Cheshire. We don't get a lot of this environment. So lots of sedges, purple loose strife, bit of rush, there's a little bit of fat hen in here, abundance of other species. So what we're going to try and do is mow about a hectare out of this side, and there's a carrier that goes across there, a ditch that goes across here in front of us, and then beyond another part of the fen, an area in there. And the idea is just to try to cut some of this material, and then we're going to try and rake it and bale it, and then get the material off. Year on year on year, this material grows, dies each year. All that material rotting down. It can lift the height of the fen, and then it gets drier and drier. Then you get tree species, woody species trying to get into here, willow, etc. You can see a little bit here, just behind me, perhaps, where they've just cut some willow down this summer. As the fen lifts and dries, you'll get more of those woody species trying to get in here. Changes the habitat completely. So we're going to trial it this year of mowing a section, getting the material off and just see if that keeps the fen in better condition versus plot next to it. I think it'll be a really interesting experiment. The difficulty is on this sort of place is that a lot of years it never gets quite dry enough to get on there to do what we're doing. We're not sure it's going to be dry enough to do it now. We might just get stuck. But we thought it's the driest summer that any of us have known. We'll give it a go. One of the problems we get in these sort of environments, like you'll have seen in one of our previous videos, is that when rivers flood, they bring a lot of debris with them. That sleeper that we had that went through the mower last week. So there's so much material there, we're not going to be able to see whether or not there's logs and stuff that's been brought in by the river. That and getting stuck are the two big problems on this sort of site. It's the mow's just about coping with it. There's so much material. When I went straight into it, I went a little bit too fast. And we blocked the conditioner immediately. I think we're better with a plain mower on this stuff. Going super steady. I'm mowing at 3.5 kilometres an hour. If I push on much faster, I'm really nervous that this sedge is just going to wrap around the conditioner. I've got the mower pushed back as far as I dare. I hope without the swath balls digging in the ground. So we mowed all this yesterday, all this sedge and reed stuff. It's like proper heavy going, about 3.5k, because just don't know what I'm going to hit, willows and stuff and bits and bats and driftwood or whatever that might come out of the river. So yeah, really slow mowing operation. Anyway, we've got the baler down here now. So Paul's brought the rake, you can see over in the distance. We are thinking whether or not this is going to actually rake, or there's going to be too much material if we do rake it, so we'll see. I thought to start with, we'll try it with a bale and go around the outside, see what develops. Tractor and baler's travelling really well. We've kicked the first 3 bales out, putting plenty of net on them, and want them to hold them together for when we get them off the site. We haven't got weigh scales on the baler, but I can tell you without even thinking about weighing it, that is a heavy bale. So it's really sad. At the moment, this is just going to go denetted and then put up for composting. That can go into the arable operation and rot down with the manure and stuff, and it'll have a benefit for all these heavy clay soils that are around this part of the world. So, it'll have a use. Be nice if there was a more financially viable use for it than just composting it down to go on the arable ground. But that's something to work on going forward for the management. You see this now. Here you go, Fenlanders. It's a bit bouncy. So we're going to crack on. It's just a slow job. It won't mow beautifully. Mower's blocking a bit. Some of the sedge is like pushing down. But if we get most of the material off here, then that'll achieve the objective. Like I was saying earlier, what we don't want to do, all this vegetation rots down year on year on year. The fen grows in height, gets drier, woody species start to colonise it. We lose the habitat that's so special down here. So cut and collecting and removing some of this, bit of a trial for this year, see how it achieves it, and then maybe it's something that can roll out over more of the fen. As you can see behind me, there are acres and acres of it down here, so maybe it's a cut part of it on a rotation over 3 or 5 years, just as some of the material's coming off, keeping the woody species out, stopping the fen drying. Really interesting project. Paul's on the 215 with the Kuhn rake behind, mounted rake. This is where the mounted one comes into its own. A bit more control, playing with it, haven't got the little wheels carrying round. So in these difficult conditions, it's kind of easier with that type of rake than a trailed one. Big pack weight on the front, so at least when he picks the rake up, we've kind of got some sort of neutrality, even weight distribution on the tractor, rather than having the towed rake and then maybe get into difficult positions and problems in the wet areas. So for a dry summer, one of the biggest swaths of material you've seen anywhere. Look at the size of that, all that. I'm a little bit worried whether we're going to get over it with the tractor, because I haven't got a press on the front links. On the front of the tractor that's baling, it'd be handy to have one of those crop presses just to squash that down a little bit. Something we might need to think about for next year. This is Caddis's go at Fenland farming. So don't forget to check out Daniel's channel. He's farming in this environment all the time. Getting stuck's a way of life down there for those boys. So if you've got any doubts over the pickup capability of a Kuhn baler, I'll just show you this material now that's feeding into it. It is quite unbelievable. So behold that for a swath to get in behind with a baler. We're dealing with such heavy material. We've just got the rake just kicked back a little bit on the top link. We've got clumpy bits of sedge and grasses that are going to be really nasty for the tines. So everything just needs to be calmed down, slowed down, whether that be speed of baling, raking, mowing, everything just nice and steady. The moment you start putting the kit into such challenging conditions in type of material, volume of material, surface conditions, clods, etc., everything is just more likely to start breaking kit. So just really steady away on this sort of job. Minimise the chances of breakdowns and downtime. It's not a job you can race. There we go. Perfect example. It wants to hoover into the baler like heck. Of course, this is compounded now. You'll see this blockage here. So you'll see here now, we've blocked the baler. We're on 80% of a bale, and it's just sucked in such huge amount of material down into the pickup. Found that up quick. So what I've done is, you might just be able to see just on the right hand side, that's where the clutch system is, which I've disengaged. So I'm spinning the bale in the chamber now with all the rotors disengaged. and that's compressing the bale in the chamber, hopefully giving us enough room for that material to get in. So if I turn the revs down, activate that clutch down here, it's got the space now to eat the material. Didn't even need to drop the floor in the baler, just making the space, away we go. For me, that's one of the features of the pickup system on the Kuhn baler that sets it apart. And you don't have to be just baling nasty stuff like this. You know, that can happen in any crop. There we go, we've just finished baling. Pretty tricky stuff on the pickup reel a lot. Did block it a couple of times. This reed mace, bulrush stuff, just pretty awful. I'm picking a bit of soil up as well in places, so just like forever feathering on the pickup. It is like we're baling. Yeah, Paul?
It's hell. It is hell.
It is kind of like baling in Wind of the Willows. It's got its challenges. And a lot of people would not be interested in trying to bale this sort of stuff. And rightly so. But this is what we set out ourselves to do. As well as the agri-contracting, we do the environmental contracting. And I see that as a huge success, with its challenges and frustrations at times. Don't get me wrong. We've got a few ideas to make the system better. Every time we do this sort of work, we come up with more and more ideas, little things, modifications we can do to the machinery to make it easy for the next season. And over the last 18 years, season on season, coming up with new ideas, different modifications, we get more and more experienced in managing these sort of sites. So I think that's positive. I've had a lot worse Fridays than unblocking the baler twice. That is for sure. I'm sure some of you guys have as well. So do we become honorary fenlanders for baling in these sort of conditions? Daniel, if you're watching, please let us know in the comments. If you like what you're watching, different footage we're doing week on week, and you're enjoying the videos, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, help grow our little channel. It means the world to us. If you've got any ideas for future content, stuff you want to see, just drop us a line and we'll try and include it where we can. Paul dropped the 13 tonner down here yesterday. I've just come down to one of our fields in the telehandler, the little Fleming trailer, a couple of big concrete pipes. We've got this ditch crossing point. It's all started collapsing. It's only quite a small pipe under there. It's never been very good, this, for years and years and years. Ditch is a bit full of stuff there, what's pulling out. The ditch has been backing up and it's going to cause problems for the neighbours. So we're going to rip out all this crossing point, clean the ditch out either side and try and get those big concrete pipes in there. Once we've done that, we'll bring some more stone in, stone this gateway up much better, and hopefully it'll give us less problems going forward this winter. It's a real dry time now, so it's ideal to get on the fields and bring gear across without making a mess. Yeah, these pipes can be ace. Get a lot more water coming through the ditch there. At the moment there's only about a 9-inch pipe in, so we'll put these great big concrete pipes in, job will be good. Got the forks on the front of the telehandler, so that'll enable us to pick the pipe up, lower it down, and then just be able to hook it up with the digger, just lower them in gently. Biggest challenge though is going to be digging all that rubble out of that gateway, because it's big nasty stuff under a tree, bit of fencing around it, and I haven't got a tooth bucket unfortunately. We've just got a flat edge on the digging bucket, so that's going to be the hardest bit. Once we've got the trench out, the rest of it should be easy. Right, I'll just swap buckets over, take the ditching bucket off, put a digging bucket on, we'll see whether we can dig through this. What makes it pretty tricky is we've got this beautiful oak tree here. Don't want to smash too much of the canopy off it, so just got to be a bit careful working under here. And the ground's going to be so hard. Coming out easier than I thought it would, to be fair. Down to this plastic pipe now. It's only about 9 inches. Much better with a big concrete pipe in there. Just going to unload this next pipe now. That fork extension just means that we've got a little bit more purchase on the pipe. Makes it a little bit easier to unload. Reversing beepers are really, really annoying. I'd like to try and get something that's just a bit of a duller noise than that. You know, you can get sorts of bin wagons and stuff. Some of them have a bit of a deeper tone to them, rather than that really high pitched dee The Luke just bobs that now next to this soil. I'll have something to pull against.